There is a certain kind of woman a man doesn't dare to control. Not because she's unmanageable, but because he's too consumed with the fear of losing her. Let that sink in. We live in a society obsessed with rules for love. How to be desired, how to attract, how to keep a man interested. Be kind but not too kind. Be independent but not too intimidating. Be alluring but never too accessible. An endless loop of contradictory advice, shaping you into a version of yourself that's palatable, soft-edged, and easy to digest. But what if that script is completely wrong? What if the real power lies not in compliance but in defiance? Not in fitting a mold but in breaking it? This isn't about being the most beautiful woman in the room. Beauty may catch the eye, but it fades. This isn't about mind games or manipulative tactics either. Those create short-lived sparks but always burn out. This is about something far deeper, a magnetic presence, a kind of energy that doesn't beg for attention but commands it. Some men even call it dangerous. Not because it threatens them physically, but because it shakes the foundation of what they've always known. Why is she dangerous? Because she's uncatchable. Because she doesn't need them. Because she is complete without them. What does this woman know that others don't? What does she embody that others avoid? More importantly, what does she not do? Why is it that a man can meet a dozen women who check every box and forget them by sunrise, but he never forgets the one who doesn't bend to please him? Here's where most people misunderstand the male psyche. They believe that to keep a man they must make him comfortable, offer consistency, be agreeable, prioritize his needs. But what if what he truly craves isn't comfort but challenge? Not insecurity, but a subtle tension, a thrilling sense that she could leave at any time, not out of cruelty but because she simply values herself that much. Her presence awakens a deep instinct in him, the pursuit, not to conquer but to earn. Let me be clear. This isn't advice from a glossy magazine. This isn't about pretending to be cool or aloof. That's not power. That's performance. What we're about to dive into is the truth behind male desire. The raw, often unspoken truth. The kind that reshapes not only how others see you but how you see yourself. Let's start with the harsh reality. Most relationships don't collapse from betrayal. They die quietly, suffocated by routine, starved of respect. They perish when one person becomes predictable, too available, furniture in the other's life. And that death always begins with one shift. The moment you go from being a privilege to being an option, that moment when your name stops quickening, his pulse and becomes just another notification. When you become his plan B, someone he sees if nothing better comes along. The difference between being unforgettable and being replaceable, it lies in your energy. It's not in your job title, not in the way you style your hair. It's in how deeply you live your own truth. It's in the fact that your world existed before him and will flourish with or without him. There's a reason some women walk into a room and shift the atmosphere. They don't do it by shouting. They do it by radiating authenticity. They are anchored, grounded, whole. They don't seek applause, they validate themselves. Their calm is unshakable because it's not performative, it's real. And to a man, that's both intimidating and irresistible. Why? Because her joy doesn't hinge on him, because she doesn't orbit his life. She is the center of her own. Now, this doesn't mean she is indifferent or cold. She loves and she feels deeply, but she loves with choice, not with need. And her greatest strength? Her boundaries. Elegant, soft, yet firm as stone. Let's consider a real-world example. Say she's been anticipating a date all day, and an hour before he sends a lazy text. Hey, something came up with the guys. Rain check? The woman who's desperate to please will say, sure, no worries. Let me know when you're free. Sounds polite, right? But what's the message behind it? My time is flexible. My plans don't matter. I'm here, always waiting for you. But the woman who knows her worth? She pauses, feels her disappointment but doesn't let it drive her reaction. She responds, I understand things happen. That's unfortunate, I was looking forward to it. I'm busy next week, but we can check in after that and see if something works. Read that again. No drama, no guilt trip. But pure poised power. It says, I value myself. I had space for you, but now you'll have to earn it again. This creates an emotional shift in him. Suddenly, she's not the woman he can casually reschedule. She's rare, and what is rare becomes valuable. From the late-night texts she ignores to the times she chooses, her priorities over his whims. These are not acts of rebellion. They are declarations of self-worth. And here's where the game changes. He realizes, consciously or not, that she isn't governed by the rules he's used to. Her attention isn't guaranteed. Her love isn't on tap. She's not here to accommodate. She's here to live. And in that moment, a transformation begins. The man starts to question everything. Why do I feel drawn to her? Why am I restless when I think about her? And the answer? Admiration. He may like the woman who's always available, but he admires the one who has priorities. He may like the woman who agrees with everything, he says, but he admires the one who challenges him, intellectually and emotionally. Attraction begins with liking, but it deepens with respect. Respect is not a bonus, it is the foundation. And this is what separates fleeting interest from lasting connection. He realizes that he doesn't want something easy. He wants something earned, something sacred. Because deep down, every man wants to feel like he's standing beside a woman who chose him, not because she needed someone, but because she wanted him. The woman who plays small to be chosen offers convenience. The woman who rises and builds her world offers legacy. Let's talk about that difference. The princess waits to be rescued. She's kind. She's patient. But her world revolves around the hope of being chosen. The queen doesn't wait. She creates. She doesn't need rescuing. She's already saved herself. Her life is her masterpiece. Her standards are her filter. She's not looking for someone to complete her. She's looking for someone worthy of standing beside her. And when a man meets such a woman, everything changes. He no longer looks for the easiest option. He starts seeking the one who ignites his soul. So how do you embody this queen energy? It's not a title. It's a lifestyle, and it rests on 4 unshakable pillars. Pillar 1, define your mission. What are you building? What excites you outside of love? Whether it's your art, career, fitness, or travel, let your mission be your gravity. Let him see that you have purpose that predates and outlives his presence. Pillar 2, build your fortress. Your independence, emotional, financial, and social, is your fortress. Your friends. Your stability. Your own bank account. When you don't depend on a man, he becomes a choice, not a lifeline. Pillar 3, love solitude. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's intimacy with self. Take yourself to dinner. Explore alone. Be at peace in your own company. A woman who enjoys her own silence speaks the loudest. Pillar 4, set unbreakable laws. Write down your non-negotiables. Not hopes, not dreams, laws. I do not accept dishonesty. I will not chase. I protect my peace. And then live by them. When someone violates them, don't argue. Don't plead. Withdraw your energy. Let your absence speak your value. And yes, fear will arise. What if he leaves? But ask this. Why would I want someone who is repelled by my standards? Because your standards are not obstacles. They are filters. They separate the immature from the exceptional. The man who is intimidated by your light was never meant to walk with you. The man meant for you will not dim your fire. He will burn brighter beside you. And that at its core is the secret. We set out to understand what makes a man obsessed, drawn, captivated. And what we found is this. It was never about him. It was always about you. The most seductive woman is not playing a role. She is living a masterpiece. A woman who doesn't try to attract, she simply is. Because nothing is more magnetic than a woman in full command of her world. A woman who, if alone for the rest of her life, would still smile deeply. Because when you no longer need love, you choose it. And in that choice lies the highest power. So now ask yourself the final, real question. Will you keep being the background character in someone else's story? Or will you step fully into your role as the creator, the author, the queen of your own epic? Because when you build a life so thrilling, so radiant, so expansive, only the extraordinary will dare to join you. And that is not seduction. That is sovereignty. Welcome to the kingdom.